Today I'll be doing the first installment of ranking all the rides in the new parks that I went to this trip, and I will be starting off with Hershey Park. Hershey Park is some of the best rides that I've ridden so far and has many other great ones as well. However, I do think that the lineup is slightly top heavy. Don't get me wrong, they have some amazing rides across the board, but I think the ones at the top are really what make this park what it is. But before we start, Storm Runner did not open on my visit. I'm very sad about that. And the family coasters I also did not ride, but other than that, let's begin. Last place in the park goes to Jolly Rancher Remix. I didn't really like this ride that much, which is why it's last place in the park. I do think that the enhancements that the park gave it was good in a way to try to revive it, but at the end of the day, it's just a boomerang. The theming is cool, and the new restraints do take away headbanging, which is nice, but it's just not it for me. The inversions, especially the Cobra Roll, are not fun, and the only redeemable quality of the ride are the drops. It's just not good. Just get the credit and then stay away. It's not good. The Mine Train Trailblazer falls here. Overall, I did enjoy this ride being a smooth family coaster with not that many bad transitions either. But the key word family coaster really shines in here, being that it's super tame. Compared to a Mine Train like Adventure Express, it pales when it comes to thrills. But that's not really the main focus of the ride. Trailblazer is just meant to be a good stepping stone roller coaster from something like Coco Cruiser to maybe like a Comet or a Lightning Racer. There are a ton of turns and helices around the back of the park that give some amazing views of many different rides. It's just a good family ride. Next up is Laugh Track, one of the more unique rides in the park, and I think it's a decent ride overall. Now, it is more on the family thrill side, but it's still a good ride, and the theming is the best in this park. It's themed to a clown house or something like that. It's actually kind of creepy, but nevertheless, the theming is good. Then it's just a slew of many different turns and helices in the dark, and by the way, it being in the dark is really fun. I think that's pretty unique. Not many rides do that. And then the spinning cars on top are also very cool. Spot 8 belongs to Lightning Racer. I know that there are some people out there that enjoy this old GCI a lot, but personally, it wasn't that good to me. The dueling aspect is cool, and I love the different flyby elements, and the first half isn't even that bad with some solid airtime pops. But the second half is just horrible. It's rough, has no airtime, it's slow, it's borderline unbearable. You crawl through the final airtime hills and turns, and you just get to a point where you're wondering when the ride will end. It's just that slow. And the roughness in the second half is pretty bad as well. Just a overall mediocre GCI, I would have to say, sadly. 7th place is going to Super Duper Looper. This is one of the best family coasters at Hershey, and even though it is old, it's still good for at least one ride when you go. The ride starts out with its vertical loop, which is a solid inversion and a good introductory inversion for kids, and it makes it a little bit more unique. That's not the standard teardrop shape because of how old the ride is. Then the ride after is just alright with some slower turns and helices around the hollow, even going through a tunnel about halfway through. But while you are doing that, you get some tremendous views of many rides like Great Bear and Sky Rush, which gives it some extra points for me. Up next is the best Woody in the park in my opinion, Comet. Comet is a fun little PTC that can be forgotten about easily in this lineup, especially since there are rides like Sky Rush that literally ride right on top of it, but it's a good 6th place in the park for me. I know that the ride used to have the buzz bar, so the airtime was even crazier back then, but even with the new PTC trains, which are super nice by the way, you get some solid pops of airtime. The first drop is solid, then the first couple of airtime hills and drops do provide some solid floater that everybody can enjoy. The only problem is the second half is pretty slow while going over some of those hills, and the bumpiness can be a little bit irritating since it does have a little bit of roughness, but if that could be flattened out, this ride would be almost perfect. 5th place in the park is going to Great Bear. Great Bear is a super solid inversion machine with some fun elements, but personally, it's the worst invert that I have ridden. I do still like Raptor and Banshee a little bit more, but that should not take away from how good Great Bear is. The first drop is unique, and I like it a lot. Then the loop is intense, the Immelman is kind of filler, then the 0G roll was super snappy and whippy, and one of the best inversions on my trip. Then you fly over some water, which is cool, but feels like filler to me, even though you kind of do need that track to clear Super Duper Looper, and finish the ride with a super snappy corkscrew. Just a quick, snappy invert in a tight plot of land. Fahrenheit slides into the number 4 spot. I didn't really expect a lot from this ride going in because I've heard mixed feelings about it, but it's super solid. It feels very similar to Maverick in many ways, but instead of the heavily whippy and airtime focused ride, it just has a lot of inversions. The first drop was very good, being steep and having good eject airtime. Then you have a slew of inversions in the Norwegian loop, which is fun and unique, the Cobra roll, which is rough but good, 2 back-to-back corkscrews, which are solid, not as good as Great Bears, but still pretty good, and a Maverick-style airtime hill with immense ejector. a very underrated in-twin that I liked a lot. First of the top 3 is Candemonium. Personally, this ride is very good, but not even the best hyper in its own park. I personally think that both Diamondback and Mako are more complete rides and better B&M hypers, but that should not take away from how Candemonium is still a super enjoyable ride. The first drop is just like any other hyper, being filled with some immaculate floater all the way through. Then you rise into a very solid airtime hill that is very similar to the 5-second one on Mako. You hit a turnaround, which is just your standard B&M turnaround, then you hit a floater hill, which has some more good floater airtime, a speed hill with good ejector, and then you have this little weird off-bank airtime moment, but sadly, there isn't really much airtime there. The ending is weaker, it's comparable to Mako in the way that it ends, but overall, it is still very fun. The second spot goes to Skyrush. I think that it's fair to say that my one ride on Skyrush blew me away and was definitely one of the best rides of my day. The first drop was actually insane and one of the most diabolical things ever created. The drop at the start has some good ejected airtime, but then halfway down it's almost like a jolt that sends you flying with even more of that ejected airtime, and it's even stronger. Then the ride after is very good, even if simple. The first 2 hills after have some fun ejector and some turns that have some solidly sustained Gs. The second half is just alright, didn't hit as hard as the first half, just having some solid flow ejector airtime, but the first half is still some of the best coaster track that I've been on. Number 1 is Wildcat's Revenge. Man, this ride is insane, but it was a lot closer to Skyrush than I thought it would be. The inversions on this ride are impeccable, and one of the reasons why I like this ride so much. The first inversion is so high off the ground, the 0G stall is great with some amazing floaty feeling, and then the other 0G rolls are very nice as well. Then the airtime is so strong that some people might think that it's too much, and it's pretty borderline for me. The first drop and hill are jam-packed with sustained airtime, and then the ride has some other pops of ejector in the double down, which I think shouldn't be allowed, by the way. It's way too strong. And other lower to the ground and sideways moments. Overall, the first half is perfect, and then the second half just keeps it going. Just a really, really good RMC hybrid, and probably a top 3 ride from my trip. Thanks for watching. Tell me your favorite ride at Hershey Park. If I missed anything, messed up my rankings, but other than that, have a good day.